Yes, I set some homework for everybody that was here last week. Because I sort of became aware of the fact that one of the things that, everybody turns up and we do our little discussion and we practice our exercises, but the whole point is that people don't just be mindful for half an hour on a Wednesday evening, but they actually do it, practice it throughout the week. So I thought, how can we encourage that? So I did set a little bit of homework for people. But the only person that was here last week has come back again. So how did you get on with your homework?
It at least works.
Okay, well that's fine, it doesn't matter.
I'm trying to practice on...
Well, there was a couple of things that I asked people to practice, wasn't there? One was, first thing when they wake up in the morning, taking a few mindful breaths.
Oh, that's right,
yeah. And then there were some more specific tasks for people. So how did you get on?
Well, I really struggled with it because I just kind of keep quiet and just listen. That was my thing. I tend to jump in, so I got to stand back and listen. It was okay.
Were you aware of doing it on more than one occasion?
Yeah, but I have to keep telling myself, no, okay, just have this grin on your face and listen. Okay. Take on board what that person, it's not my opinion, it's their opinion. Yeah. I might not agree with it. But yeah, it was okay. I think it needs to be worked on.
Well, of course, but that's it. It's always a work in progress. That's the whole point of it. There's always another present moment.
I'll carry on. Good. Hopefully it comes natural.
Good. Okay.
But it's not quite there yet.
Okay. Well, I did quite well with my mindful breaths first thing in the morning. So one thing that I ask people to do is when they, as early in the day as they can remember, is to just take 3 mindful breaths and be aware of breathing in and breathing out. Because the breath happens in the present moment. You can't breathe in the past, you can't breathe in the future. You can only breathe in this moment in time right now. And, there's nothing that is... Hey, up. Come in. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
You're right?
Yeah, sorry.
Good. No, don't be sorry. It's fine. I was just talking about homework.
About what?
Homework.
All done.
But you didn't have any homework anyway. You didn't have any homework. It was people that were here last week.
Like the kids and
No. I set homework last week.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
So you might get some.
You
might get some.
Okay.
Nobody's come back to report on how they got on with their homework apart from Kate. Kate got a C.
Yeah.
C+.
Could do better next
So
time.
good.
I'll keep trying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got a sticker yet.
I'll do that. The kids love a sticker. But one of the things that I ask people to do, because I'm conscious of the fact that the point of the group is not for people to just be mindful for half an hour on a Wednesday, but to learn and develop a practice that they can practice throughout the week. So one of the tasks that I asked people to practice was taking some mindful breaths right at the beginning of the day. So as soon as you can remember. So even if that's straight away when you open your eyes, fantastic. Or if it's a little later when you're making a cup of tea or whatever it is, to just be aware of 2 or 3 breaths, just to get yourself in a mindful state and aware of the present moment early in the day to set you up. So that was the main homework. So I'll dish that out to all of you as well. That's your homework to take away.
I've got no
2 or 3
yet.
breaths. Pardon?
I've got no books yet.
No, that's next week.
Oh, I've just changed my job, so I'm hoping.
Have you?
So I was working shifts, so that's why.
Are you still in the field that you were in before?
I'm not working for the NHS anymore.
Right.
But I'm still kind of. Whereas I used to work for the ambulance service, I've come out of that, and I'm now working for a charity that supports kids.
Oh, right, okay.
Look after mental health.
Interesting. I'm actually going to do some mindfulness work with a carers charity based in Ashford. I can't remember what they're called. It might be
because
a similar
organisation. Who I'm working for are linked with the Ashford lot, so
right.
It wouldn't surprise me if I don't know if they're called carers support.
Something like that.
Oh,
something
doing
like
that. Try and get you over to deal to our lot.
Yeah. I'll find out the name of the organisation. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
It's supporting carers
Yeah, because it is sort of general support in all carers, but my role is a mental health.
Okay,
So,
excellent. Well, if you want me to come in and do some stuff, I'm more than happy to.
Okay.
More than happy to. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's start with a little exercise, and then we can talk about doing less, which is the topic. Well, you're already doing less. Changed your job and jacked in all that.
No. Anyway, okay. That's actually a sort of
point.
Doing less. And I thought, I'm coming, definitely coming tonight. Someone needs to teach me how to do less.
I can't guarantee that I'll teach you how to do less at all. That's your responsibility. I don't do your doing. Okay. Let's begin with we'll do the mindful arm movements. I like that one, and other people like that one. So what we do is, without removing an eye from the person sat next to you, what we do is we start off with the arms apart, and then we. The arm movements don't need to be huge. All we do is we just bring the hands together while we breathe in, and then as we breathe out, we bring the hands apart, and that's all we do. And you just breathe, bring the hands together, breathe out, and bring them apart. And all I ask in terms of practice is that you just bring your awareness to the movement of your arms. Be aware of your arms moving in and out, moment by moment. And be aware of your breath. And then be aware of your breath and the movement of your arms. And just for the next 2 or 3, just be aware of that point when the hands meet, and just be aware of the sensation of the hands touching, the fingertips, the palms. Just be aware of the coming together and then the separation. Good. When you're ready, you may open your eyes.
Better when you've got a bit more room, isn't it? Do it like that. It doesn't have the same effect for some reason.
It's like doing it like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's okay. That's a good one. Although maybe there's not much of a market for it. I don't know. The kids might go for it. Okay. So the topic for this evening, doing less. And that came to me as a topic on the back of the dishing out of homework last week, because I thought we'll come this week and I will ask people how they got on with their homework, and they will say things like, "Oh, it was really hard, and I just had so much on, I wasn't able to make time to do it, and just was doing too much." Preempting people's excuses, which is a little, I don't like to make assumptions, but I think it's a common syndrome. We call it a syndrome of the modern world, isn't it? Who feels they do too much or have too many things? Yeah, we've got 2 hands up, 3 hands up. We do, especially if we have busy lives, if we have families, jobs, relatives, friends, if we have a tendency to feel that we have to fill our lives with doing, because otherwise we're not achieving anything. If we have to, for some people, they become defined by their doing. These are the things that I do, and this defines who I am. This makes me a legitimate individual with, and my presence is worthwhile. My role in society is worthwhile because I do all this stuff. And we'll perhaps argue that point.
Well, at the moment, I've got quite a lot of time on my hands, so I'm like, got to find something to do to fill the time. I don't know, I'm getting a bit bored really, because my hours are like quite low, but I don't quite know what to do. But I know everyone else going, oh my goodness, all this doing this. But I'm
green with envy.
what do I do? So I go for a walk, so I put the kettle on again. I know it's not really what
You
we're talking
have
about.
to buy one of these, and then you can just sit at home and invite the bowl to sound.
Appreciate what I've got, really. Maybe.
Okay, now you can join in with me on this one if you want to, but you don't have to. Now, do we all know about patting our head and rubbing our tummy? Can we do that? You don't have to do it, try it if you want to try it. You don't have to try it if you don't want to. And can you do that and also wink your eyes alternately?
No.
So, I'm struggling now. Left, right, left. No, I've lost it already. Okay. Now, can we do that while we stand on one leg? No. Okay.
Get a bit warm.
Your own statement.
Yes. Some of our big corners. No, it's only me. I mean, it's only on me. I should. We'll try that exercise again in a little while, and I'll move the camera around. So, what did we notice about trying that little exercise? Apart from the fact that we all looked really stupid, one observation.
You have to really concentrate.
You had to really concentrate, yes.
As you added more in, it became more difficult.
The more things we added in, the more difficult they got, yes.
And the worse you did them.
And the worse you did them. So yes, it was very difficult to concentrate on them. It was difficult to be aware of all the different bits and remember what we were supposed to be doing. Even though I struggled to remember what I was supposed to be doing, and I was the one that was dictating the exercise. And yes, I think that's the key one. We didn't do any of it particularly well. I didn't blink my eyes particularly well. You certainly struggled to stay on your feet as you patted and rubbed and blinked and balanced. So that's the thing, isn't it? When we try, and that's the key word, try, and I'll explain why in a minute, to do too many things, we often find that we don't do any of them particularly well. Which is not great for ourselves.
Is that when we get all clogged up?
Yeah.
We're doing lots of these things going on.
It's not great for us, it's not great for the people that we're perhaps trying to do things for, because we're not all completely selfish and only do things for our own gain. Maybe you do, I don't know. But for a lot of people, they do things for other people. Now, there's probably an opportunity here for us to get into a big discussion about multitasking and about the fact that there are certain people who are better at multitasking and other people who are not so good at multitasking and fail miserably. But I'm not going to get into that argument.
You'd lose.
I'd lose.
And we haven't got time.
We haven't got time. So, we try to do too many things. We struggle to be aware of what we're doing. We struggle to keep track of what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Who felt that they, could have handled something else being thrown into that as well? I don't know what else I could have thrown into that. I think we would have struggled, wouldn't we? If we didn't try to introduce a bit of hopping or switch that to juggling, and it would have just been carnage. It would have just been bedlam and chaos, and we wouldn't have known where we were, what was going on. We would have lost a sense of who we were. We would have lost a sense of where we were. We wouldn't have been able to be aware of anything that was going on around us. So we would have lost a sense of where we are in the world, where we are in this moment in time.
focus was shifting constantly as well.
And our focus would be constantly shifting from one thing to another, because I mean, this is the other thing that made me think about the idea of doing less, following on from what we were talking about last week and the week before. Because last week I was talking about awareness and what we can be aware of, because it's very difficult to be aware of everything that's going on around us. You know, there's all the information that our senses give us, what we can see, what we can hear, what we can smell, all the information that our senses give us about what's going on around us. And when it's very difficult to be aware of all of that at the same time. And also it's very difficult to be aware of everything that's happening internally as well. What we're thinking, what we're feeling, how we are responding to the things that we can see, hear, think, feel. It's a lot. That's why our unconscious minds have developed to handle so much of it for us, because consciously it's very difficult. And if we really practice our mindfulness and really develop an exquisite practice of mindfulness, where our awareness can lift above consciousness and unconsciousness and all the rest of it, we still would struggle to be aware of absolutely everything. And certainly if we try and do too much, we don't stand a cat in hell's chance of being able to be aware of what's going on and be able to develop that the observer. That's what I call it. And I'm not the only one that calls it that. There are other people that call it that. There's a part of that. Sorry,
I said a few weeks ago when we was learning things,
Yeah.
and the same sort of things like learning skills, you start a new job.
Yeah.
You can't take it all on board
No.
in the first day or week. And even with my new job, in 3 months I'm still learning, I'm still asking, and I don't feel bad, I will ask, but it's just bringing it in for what you're saying. You know, if you do everything at once, try to do it, it's going to go wrong.
Exactly.
And they're going to say, oh well, Tay won't get through her probation period because she's taken all on board to do that.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully they have taken me on. I'm still on the list. So, but if you say try and take it all on board, if you know, which I have done in the past, think, oh yeah, do it. Now I just relax and do it and ask if need be, because that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Exactly.
The learning.
Exactly. And learning's important. As
Yeah.
we know, we've talked about it.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
all, every moment is an opportunity to learn something.
It doesn't matter if you get it wrong a few times, does it?
Of course not. Well, what is right and wrong?
Yeah, what
You
is
know,
right and wrong?
if we are truly mindful and we are able to rise above labelling, where we don't label things as being good or bad or right and wrong, then
It's just now, isn't it?
there are no mistakes to be made. Isn't that nice?
Oh.
In a world without labels, nothing is good, nothing is bad, nothing is wrong. There are no mistakes. It just is what it is. But that's a bit ideological, maybe. Anyway, let's practice another little exercise, and then we can discuss more in a moment. So what we'll do now, I hinted or spoke a moment ago about awareness of the senses and what the information that comes from our senses. And this is an exercise that we often do, sitting exercise. And we begin with what we can see. And we just look around and take in visual information. So we're just looking at shapes, looking at colours. And this is the hard bit when I say you're not trying to identify objects or identify what you can see. We're not thinking, oh, that's a candle, there's some flowers, that's a stained glass window. We're just seeing. And then when you've had a little look around, you can close your eyes and you can move your awareness to what you can feel. So you can feel the weight of your body sat on a chair. You can feel your back pressing against the back of the chair. You can feel your bottom in contact with the seat and gravity pulling down through your spine, down through your bottom into the chair. You can be aware of your feet in contact with the floor. Be be aware of the clothes against your skin, your arms and your legs. You may even be aware of the very faint movement of air against your skin, on your face and on your hands. And this is a nice opportunity to be aware of any tension that you feel in your body. So you can be aware of your neck and your shoulders relaxing, and your arms relaxing. Aware of the jaw relaxing. Just be aware of any tension that's there and aware of just releasing that tension. And then take a nice breath in through the nose. Just be aware of smell. You're not trying to smell anything in particular, just be aware of smelling in this moment. And then be aware of taste. Aware of the taste in your mouth as it is right now. And then begin to listen. Just allowing the sound to happen, just being aware of sound as it happens, moment by moment. And if your mind wanders, it doesn't matter. Just be aware that your mind has wandered, acknowledge that it's wandered, and just bring your awareness back to listening. And I'll invite the bowl to sound, and that can be a cue for you to just bring your awareness back to listening if your mind has wandered. When you're ready, you may open your eyes. So before we did that exercise, we established that doing too much is not particularly helpful or good, great. Because it inhibits our productivity, stops us doing things well. It's important to keep things simple. So how can we do less? Does anybody have any ideas? Help.
Prioritize.
Yes.
Prioritize.
Prioritise.
Plan.
That's a good idea. Plan.
Do things in blocks of time.
And decide.
Decide. That's the key. It's a decision. Often, we decide what we choose to do, because doing is often a conscious thing, isn't it? I must do this and I must do that. I've got to do this, must do that. It very often becomes a conscious decision. There are things that we have to do that go along with being alive and having a job and having a family and all that kind of stuff. There are things that we have to do, but quite often it is a decision. We decide that we must do all of these things. We must try and do all of these things. So yes, first and foremost, we must make a decision. Choose to do less. Choose to bring to our awareness the things that are important. Prioritise.
And sometimes it's being, this is my opinion, and being aware of why you're doing something.
Exactly.
Not very good at doing that, but when I have managed to do that, sometimes it's like, what the hell am I doing? Absolutely no. And it comes back to, I don't know, my mother told me something 15 years ago and it goes round and round in my head.
Oh,
I'm trying to
yeah,
keep up with
that one.
My mum's lovely, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
actually I'm doing this because, why?
Exactly. And that's another key. That's the key point, isn't it? It's being aware of it. Being aware of what you're doing and perhaps
Things
why you're
become
doing
habits,
it.
don't they? Sometimes.
They do become habits.
Habits, yeah.
And if you have all these habits, these things that you do, then when you try and add things to it, if that's a habit, and then somebody asks me to do something else, I have to then fit that into the habit and around the habit, and then before I know it, I'm wobbling about on one leg, winking, and so yes. So there's a couple of things there. There's prioritising, there's deciding, and there's being aware. So where the mindfulness fits in, because we have to bring it back to mindfulness, because this is the deal mindfulness group, otherwise we're defeating the object, aren't we? It's about cultivating awareness. That's practicing mindfulness, is developing your ability to be aware of what's going on, aware of what's happening in this moment, aware of what's happening around you, and aware of what's happening within you and what you're doing. So, if you are able to practice your mindfulness and take a breath, then, as you've said, you will bring your awareness to the fact that maybe you're doing something, and you can then question why you're doing it.
Whether you want to carry on doing
Whether you should, whether it's appropriate to carry on doing
Well, I
it.
know for me, I was really struggling with the pressure of housework on top of my life, which is children and dogs and work and also husband and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And
Blooming husbands.
Blooming husbands. I had a really negative thing. Like it was just always there.
Yeah.
Housework is always there, and it's like a nagging child. And I really kind of came to the end of it with it when it came to that, and I sat and thought about it, and I thought, actually, what do I want? And I want to live in a nice environment, so that when I've got time to relax, I can relax and not. And you know what? I really sort of had a change of attitude, only from thinking, being aware of what and why and all of that sort of stuff. And it's like now it's a reward. So if I've done this, it's all clean. I can sit and enjoy it, but I'm not feeling anywhere near the. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Look at that. That's been done. Look at that. It's.
So you brought some awareness to it.
Yeah.
and decided that you were going to live in absolute filth.
Well, they say an inch of dust or a millimetre of dust is still dust.
Exactly.
not
But
dust,
but that's it. You bring some awareness to it, which is what you did, and then enable yourself to prioritise and say, okay, what is it that I want to achieve? And you're right.
Rather than feeling like I had to have it all pristine in case someone turned up on the doorstep.
Yeah.
It's more, if they turn up, this is how it is today.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually achieving far more and far happier with it than I was previously.
There you go.
If that makes sense.
No, that's
Is
true.
that the acceptance again?
That's it.
Is
Well,
maybe?
that's the thing. When you actually bring your awareness to it and simplify things a little, then you're able to do them a lot more effectively.
Yeah.
You
Thank
probably.
you for saying that in a way that sounded intelligent.
But I suppose if we keep the cleaning as a metaphor, you can go to extremes, can't you? If you take it to the limit and you find yourself, scrubbing your skirting boards with a toothbrush.
Oh, catch me out.
There are probably people out there that do it. If you can think it, there's somebody doing it. There's probably some poor person. I won't say woman because it could be anybody. There's probably some poor person out there that is at this moment in time on their hands and knees scrubbing their skirting boards with a toothbrush. Or every day, however many times. And not because they have a mental illness or a particular compulsion or something like that. It's just developed as part of their cleaning routine. And so we all sit here and we can say that's negative, that's not healthy, that's not they by doing that they're becoming defined by these actions and all this doing, and they're not doing it particularly well. But simplify it and you can do things a lot. You can do it, yes, you do it more effectively and more efficiently. Because I guess the point I'm trying to make is if somebody walks through your front door, 99.99% of people are not going to scrutinise your skirting boards to check. Like you say, they just people. This is the point. If people come to visit your house, have they come to visit your skirting boards or have they come to visit you? They've come to visit you because people visit people. People have relationships with people. And whilst people do things generally for people, there's a lot of things that we do potentially that aren't done for people. They're done for the sake of doing. So why bother? Being alive is, for me anyway, and maybe this is a slightly personal view, but I believe that one of the great benefits of being alive are the relationships and the people in our lives. That's what give our lives purpose. There was something I read the other day about, when you're lying on your deathbed, you're not going to lay there and think, oh, I'd love to go and sit in my nice car one more time. Or, I'd like to go and sit in my large house one more time. No,
I didn't do the
maybe. You don't.
Somebody's there.
There was somebody there. Probably, it might be somebody related to the church.
Be brave.
They've shut the door now. Don't worry about it, Liz. It's all right. Yeah, it's the Apple person again. We don't. I certainly believe that when I'm laying on my deathbed, I'll be wanting to have my loved ones around me so that I can be with them. And I think for most people it's the same. It's about people. Being alive is about the relationships and about the people. So, if we want to do less, bring our awareness to what it is that we do and focus on doing things with and for people rather than doing things for the sake of doing them. Yeah, that'll do it. Is that about right? I think so.
Something to think about when we go home.
Okay. Let's breathe. Let's have a few moments breathing now. So I mentioned earlier that the breath is a critical part to
a critical element to mindful practice, because our breath happens in the moment. We can't breathe in the past, we can't breathe in the future. And the reason mindfulness is so fab in my book is because bringing our awareness to the present moment relieves us of all of that negative worry and thought that goes with going over and mulling all those things that have happened in the past. Because more often than not, we don't think about the good stuff that's happened in the past, we think about all the rubbish stuff that happened. You know, what we said to so-and-so yesterday, what they said to us, and why this happened, and I should have done this instead, because if I'd done that, then this other thing wouldn't have happened, and blah, 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 blah. Or we think about the future, and we don't necessarily focus on all the great things that are potentially going to happen in the future. We think about, you know, oh, I've got to write that stupid report tomorrow, and I've got to make sure this happens. Again, it's the doing. We focus on the doing. It all is in the future. I should mention something about plans at this point, because Nick mentioned plans. Plans are okay. I'm not a big lover of plans, which my project management skills will testify to. But because somebody said to me, well, what's all this mindfulness rubbish? How does that fit in with making plans? Because it's important to make plans. You know, you need to have plans in case, you know, for contingency purposes. What if this happens? Plans are fine, as long as you make your plan mindfully. You know, when you're actually doing the planning, at that point in time, when you're sat with your pen and your pencil creating your plan, that's what you're doing at that point in time. So you create your plan mindfully, because then the plan is there ready to be executed at some future moment. So plans are not being mindful, but when you are planning, do it mindfully, if that makes sense. So, as I've said, yes, the past, we spend a lot of time learning about the past. The future, we spend a lot of time projecting and thinking about what might happen. But the chances are it never will. Or if it does, it won't happen the way that we envisage it, or the way we've planned it in our head. No matter how detailed and scrupulous our immaculate plans are. Yeah, because and I like that, as little orphan Annie said, the sun will come out tomorrow. It doesn't. She's wrong. The sun doesn't come out tomorrow, because tomorrow...
Just dashing my whole childhood there.
Yeah, she's wrong. She is wrong. When she sang that to Teddy by his helicopter, the sun doesn't come out tomorrow, because tomorrow doesn't exist. There is only this moment in time right now. Annie is the least mindful person that has ever existed. Except when she was singing Hard Knock Life. At that point in time, she was being quite mindful. But apart from Hard Knock Life, forget it. I'm scarred by Annie, it's alright. Okay. I forgot where I was now. Breathing, we were going to breathe. Let's just breathe. Okay. You may close your eyes, or you may keep your eyes open. It's entirely up to you. But I ask you to just bring your awareness to your breath. And be aware of breathing in and breathing out. And follow each individual breath as it happens, in and out. Because nothing will transport you to the present moment, and nothing will remind you that you are alive more effectively than being aware of breathing in and breathing out. Something as simple as that. Just the heaters. Either that or the building's being stoned. So as you follow your breath and allow the heaters to click and clunk around us, become aware of the fact that there are 3 components to your breath. You breathe in, you breathe out, and then there is a pause. And then you breathe in again, and breathe out, and there is another pause. And I just ask you for the next few moments to just follow each of those component parts as it happens, and allow yourself to be aware of the stillness and the peace that exists in that pause between breaths. Now for the next few breaths, when you breathe in, be aware of being alive. So breathe in and feel alive. And when you breathe out, smile. Breathe in and feel alive. Breathe out and smile at life. And then allow that smile to just relax into the pause between breaths. We breathe in and feel alive. Breathe out and smile at life. And then allow that smile to relax into the peace that exists between breaths. We breathe in and feel alive. We breathe out and smile at life. We allow that smile to just dissolve into the pause between breaths, and be aware of the fact that at this moment everything is fine. Aware that in this moment this is as good as it gets. Homework is the same as it was. When you wake, if you can, as soon as you are aware, just take 2 or 3 mindful breaths. And maybe that is as you're laid there in bed before the dog jumps on you or your husband elbows you, jumps on you, or the kids shout because they want their Rice Krispies or whatever. But your first opportunity, just take 2 or 3 mindful breaths. Put yourself in the present moment, and I promise you, your day will, well, at least it will start.